90s and 2000s slasher films. That includes ones that have been mainstream, B-movies, rip-offs, and remakes. All into one. First off, Scream 5 film set. That includes Scream 1, 2, 3, Still Screaming, and Behind the Story. Or Inside the Story, I should say. Now, this film's very good because it has all 3 Screams and then some extras. Still Screaming is a little bit of a slurp of reenactment of different scenes of just random people, and inside the story talks about the inspiration of Scream and some tidbits from the cast and crew and lots more. Up next, Scream 4. Now, this one came after the one I just showed you, so it does not include it. But Scream 4 is pretty much, in my opinion, it's a reboot, but also a sum up of lots of different films and the first 3 Screams. You'll see tidbits here and there. And if you're very sharp, you'll see the references of the different Screams in the movie. Up next, Venom. Now, the person that did Venom, the writer, is the same person that did Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer. So, you'll see lots of different influences. And it's a slasher film, but it's got a little supernatural feel to it. And it's in the South. And you'll get a little bit of that kind of stereotypical South, New Orleans feel to it. Next, Dead Tone. Now, Dead Tone is it's like urban legends in the urban community. And it only talks about one urban legend, which a killer is on the loose after when random phone calls, which is a very good one because it's a little bit like Scream also. Now, Chain Letter is a very dashing splatter film. It's got lots of gore, pretty interesting kills, not so much good on the suspense, but interesting backstory. And interesting killer. Now, Cherry Falls and Terror Tracks. Terror Tracks is got a little bit of a slasher in it, but it's an anthology. It's got killer animals and supernatural feel to it too. John Ritter is a person who's a realty, and he's showing people around this neighborhood hoping to get a cell, telling about different horrible incidences. Very interesting movie. Cherry Falls is very Scream-esque. It was made around Scream 2, so you'll definitely see the influences. Sorority Row. Remake on House on Sorority Row. Loose base on it. And it's got an whodunit feel. I feel like they did most of it well, just needs better scares in my opinion. Actresses were very well done. I do think that they need to make the characters a little bit more unique. They seem to kind of blend in a little bit, and the stereotypical sorority sister kind of acts. And I think that Jessica, the lead blonde, who is this one at the very end, should have been casted a little bit more meaner. But most of all, over well done. Cry Wolf. a very good cat and mouse game, and very good twists. I truly do love it. Very nice. My Bloody Valentine. Remake. Typical slasher-esque, very Scream-esque, a 90s slasher film. Could have done better with the scares. Always have a problem with scares in horror movies nowadays. Very few horror movies scare me. But very, very interesting. I would consider it a splatter film, actually, because it's got quite a bit of gore in it. Up next, Friday the 13th Remake. Now, I thought it was pretty well done, and plotline was a little bit slow in the beginning, but it picked up. And, as always, I have trouble with the kills, some of the kills, and the suspense. They need to do better with the suspense and scares. Do it correctly, Hollywood. Now, these are 80s/90s horror film. It's a collection of Chucky movies. The first one was made in the 80s, but this one doesn't have the first one. It has the second one to the C to Chucky. Does not have the reboot, doesn't have the first one. It's very good. I definitely would recommend it if you like all the Chucky films, but don't want too many DVDs. Speaking of the new Chucky, C to Chucky. Very good. This is the unrated version. I thought it was very well done. Very creepy feel and stuff, but need better suspense. Hellbent. Now, this is the only gay slasher film that I have. It's very 80s-esque. They need to do better with kills, but if you love man-on-man action or lots of male skin, this will be great for you. Next up, Black Christmas. Very good film. It's a splatter film because it's got, you know, gore, lots of gore and stuff like that. Could have done better with suspense, and could have better with whodunit. The actresses needed to be a little bit more convincing, but I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Very gore, though, as you'll see. Next up, Valentine'S. This was made during Scream 2, I believe, in 2001. I love this horror movie. Some of the scares could have been better, but I love a lot of the stuff in it. I would definitely recommend it. Urban legends. Around the Scream era. Very well done. It's got a little bit of an 80s feel. A little bit more than Scream. And I just love it. So it's a little bit Scream feel and a little bit of the horror, 80s horror feel. Love the mixture. Suspense could have been a little bit better, as always. But I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Prom Night. Very good movie. Teen slasher, so it's not too much you can really see. You know, a little bit predictable. It's a little bit of a police crime film with slasher and suspense. A pretty decent horror movie. Candyman. Now, I like this Candyman out of all of them because I felt like it's got pretty good scares, pretty good suspense, and character development. The other ones, even though they're all a classic, just didn't have too much of a suspense. Definitely a bit creepy, but not too much suspense. But I love this one. Next up, See No Evil 2. Now, they could have, out of all my horror movies that I just mentioned, this one they could definitely done better with the suspense. Very predictable, very 80s, 90s, slasher-esque. I felt like they were trying to do a little bit of a ripoff of the original Halloween 2 when Laurie Strode went into the hospital, but did a little bit bad job. Could have done a little bit better. Very good character development and references to the first one. Overall, fairly good. House of Wax. Very good creepy feel. Better on suspense, and it's got a little bit of a wrong turn / Hills Have Eyes kind of vibe, mixed with House of Wax vibe, as you can tell. It's also a remake of not the House of Wax, the original, because that one was actually kind of different, but Tourist Trap. If you research Tourist Trap, which is a good 80s film, it's very similar to that. Next up, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Those two films are very good. I felt like they did better in the suspense in the second one than the first one, but I love the plot line in both of them. Definitely both recommended. Comments if you want any more in-depth of my opinions on any of them. And remember to like and subscribe. And also have a Facebook page called DScan, aka Scorpio Korea. Got lots of different stuff on that on my Facebook page. Out!